Hey everybody, welcome back to Review the Nerds. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike, and today we're going to be reviewing Doctor Strange. Latest release in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, this new movie marks a big turning point for the MCU, where they've been more and more integrating paranormal or supernatural or magical themes. You got a little glimpse of that in Daredevil Season 2. We got a big glimpse of that recently with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the introduction of the Ghost Rider. And now we're getting to the tippy top, basically, of magic in the Marvel Universe with the introduction of Doctor Strange. So things are really changing up.
There were some elements of it in Thor 2, but he's like, what you perceive as magic is actually science.
Yeah, science. In the comic books, Doctor Strange is a big, heavy hitter. I mean, he was a member of the Illuminati. I mean, hell, one time he, took on Galactus by himself. He's definitely one of those characters in the Marvel Universe that even if you're not familiar with him, trust me when I say that dude is very powerful, alright? You don't want to mess with him.
I have to admit, I wasn't a huge Doctor Strange, reader as a kid or anything.
Oh yeah, neither was I. I mean, I was more familiar through the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s. So the plot of this movie is we're introduced to Dr. Stephen Strange, an extremely talented neurosurgeon who's also extremely conceited. He really has that I'm above people mentality. He's in a car accident that damages his hands, so he can no longer be a doctor. And in search of a way to heal himself, he finds a being known as the Ancient One, a sorceress of incredible power, and his eyes are open to a whole new world of reality, leading him down a path of incredible danger, but at the same time leading him down a path to become the great person he really could be.
Never heard of that story arc before, have you?
There are some parallels between Iron Man.
I was almost going to cough Tony Stark when he started saying, he starts off conceited and then ends up becoming a better man by the end.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's definitely a lot of parallels because they're both extremely intelligent.
Cocky, arrogant, and they apparently like music.
Yeah.
I'm only really making this comparison as an observation. It's not really a criticism, aside from it making Strange's character arc a bit predictable. It makes sense in terms of his personality, and it will be interesting to see how Iron Man and Doctor Strange interact together in a future film.
I will say this, I think that the difference between them was Tony Stark puts up a lot of bravado to cover up some emotional insecurities there. With him, it's more of I need to be the best at everything. It's kind of a different.
Marvel never ceases to impress me with how they find a way to make all of their material accessible. Adapting the more typical superheroes like Captain America, that's one thing. But they aren't afraid to tackle the more unconventional ones too. They've made sense of Norse gods, talking raccoons, and now sorcerers, and somehow make everything exist in one universe. Now, the only con to that is that trying to make everything mesh together also limits them a little creatively. It's really hard to complain when the product is as well made as this. It juggles all the fun, action, humor, and heart that we've come to expect from these movies. For a superhero that deals with magic, time paradoxes, dimensions, and other less conventional material for the genre, it's really essential to cast the right lead actor to ground it all. They certainly accomplished that with casting one of the best actors out there right now, Benedict Cumberbatch. As always, he's fantastic. He's such a perfect casting choice that when they announced him, it was like, yeah, obviously.
Oh yeah, when it was announced that he was going to be Doctor Strange, a lot of people were like, oh, thank God, he'll be great. And and the guy has really been, not just as Sherlock, I mean, that's what got him, out there, that's made him big, but now the guy has become, an Oscar contender, so he's, to have somebody on that level in the MCU.
Yeah, the Imitation Game, he was really, really good in that.
Oh yeah, no, the guy has, really built up a hell of a career in only, 5 or 6 years. I mean, and, he definitely has that look. I think he definitely kind of has that Doctor Strange look going on.
He was equally charismatic and douchey in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then slowly became more charismatic as it went along.
Yeah. As the character develops, one of the big things for the character is that he learns to, let other people help him. Whereas before, it was just it's no, we have to do it this way. Please do as I ask, but no, it's part of his journey learning to opening up and trusting people and just taking people on especially taking people on their word because, he's a genius. And now he has somebody telling you, yeah, you don't know as much about the universe as you thought, and you're just going to have to take my word on stuff.
He definitely moves up the ranks of sorcery pretty fast in this movie. At a certain point, when he's only just in training, the action picks up and he's kind of thrown into the thick of it, and he comes out at the end of the movie as one of the top-ranked sorcerers. They even put him in charge of the New York Sanctum. And this is despite him really just being a rookie still at this point. So I guess saving the world earned him a promotion, but he really doesn't even understand it all yet.
Well, here's the thing. This thing I like. In the comic books, he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme right off the bat. Right after he's finished his training, he becomes Sorcerer Supreme. In this, he doesn't become a Sorcerer Supreme. He just becomes a high-ranking member of like their little secret society.
But he didn't even finish his training.
He's that damn good.
Yeah, and he's also an accomplished voice actor. We know he played the dragon in The Hobbit, the voice for that, and he actually also does the voice of... They always have a giant CGI threaten this guy, though, in these movies, but he plays the one in this one as well. It's kind of weird because at the end of the movie, he's actually facing off against himself, sort of. Yeah. He also did the motion capture.
Cumberbatch versus Cumberbatch. Which one's going to come out on Batchable? I don't know.
The way that he defeats Dormammu is really creative. They found a great way to use things that we've developed and established in the movie and have it all pay off in this moment. Benedict Cumberbatch totally lives up to Doctor Strange. He was on point the whole time. He led the movie very well.
Cumberbatch did a great job. The character's really cool. I like him a lot.
He has a character that kind of tries to anchor him in humanity. Rachel McAdams plays a fellow surgeon, a colleague, who he has a previous romantic relationship with.
And that's the thing I like about her character. Her name's like Christine Palmer. They do stray away from that from the usual story where he doesn't necessarily get the girl in the end in a romantic way. He just gets her back in his life. Like there's indications that there will be future romance, but they don't like end up like embracing each other and like that long kiss at sunset kind of deal. I like that.
But the problem is that her character really has nothing to do.
I will not deny that. Beyond the fact that they switched up to kind of like the whole, her not necessarily being a classic romantic interest, I will say this, yeah, Rachel McAdams, she's an accomplished actress, you know, and it didn't give her a lot to do.
I love Rachel McAdams, by the way. I have loved her in everything I've ever seen her in. I really respect her as an actress. Like, she really has this kind of gentle, soulful thing to her eyes, like this understanding and wanting to understand someone that maybe doesn't deserve it. And I think she does great with all that stuff. But the problem is that they kind of stripped her down to just kind of being there. And not, I guess she assists in certain scenes, but she's not really involved in the action. She doesn't really drive the plot in any way, really. I think that maybe, I understand the need in an origin story to have a human character to remind him of his humanity, but because the rest of the movie is so extreme and supernatural, it just feels like she doesn't combine with that world at all, so she feels kind of left on the wayside.
Yeah. I mean, really, she's the only character from his old life that he still interacts with after he, like, starts down the path of becoming a sorcerer. And now that he is, you know, fully immersed into this, the life of a spell user, you can see that probably he's not going to really talk to that many people from his old life now, especially with his new duties. So yeah, I mean, she was kind of there for when he, like, sees her again to be like, just to say he was sorry.
I mean, in Thor, they found a way to combine Jane more closely into the narrative. I think that there was something missing here with making her more involved. She does great with what she has. There's actually this intense like argument between the two of them where he says some low blows.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, oh,
yeah,
damn.
Yeah, no, total dick move, people. Total dick move.
Her emotion in her eyes, the way her eyes, they kind of swell up, but also there's incredible strength. I think she did fantastic in that scene. I mean, she's such a good actress.
She definitely displayed a lot of hurt in her eyes. You know, she's been trying to help him all this time. In that one scene, you give her credit, even though they don't give her a lot to do. In that one scene, she's like, you know what? I've tried to help you. I'm done. I'm not going to keep doing this. You know, I care about you, but not enough if you're going to be like this. Next, we got Tilda Swinton's character, the Ancient One, a character from the comics that, because of the casting choice, and this has been brought up before, very different from the comics. Probably one of the bigger changes, because in the comics, the Ancient One is one a man, and B, not white. You know, so
Asian. Apparently, the way he's portrayed in the comics is very stereotyped. But see, I think you could have still had to be Asian and just not make it a stereotype. Yeah. I mean, so I don't see how that's a really good excuse.
There's a scene in the movie where Strange does mistake a stereotype for being the Ancient One before, you know, she reveals herself. So I can see them kind of like that being the in-universe joke in regards to the casting.
I don't know. I don't feel like, though, you should be afraid to have, like, you know, characters of another race because you're worried that you are racially stereotyping. Yeah. Just don't stereotype. When you write and direct the character, don't have them be a stereotype, that's all. Yeah. But I don't care Tilda Swinton's in it. Like I said, I like her, but I'm just saying in general, that thought process, the excuse to not have it be that, I don't understand that. Because you have Wong, who, you know, you're not worried about him being a stereotype.
Yeah. Well, there's a character Wong. Yeah, he's technically a minor character, but he's a lot of fun. And he can seem like a stereotype, but then there's a scene in the movie where he's got like a fucking iPod and he's jamming while he's
To Beyonce?
Yeah. Oh, the single ladies. I can't remember which Beyonce song it was, but
Wong was cool. He's from the comics as well. I liked him a lot. There's like this mystical quality to her. This like otherworldly quality is really interesting.
Yeah, no, she is one of those actors that whatever character she is cast as, she becomes that character. You don't see Tilda Swinton. You just see the character. Really great in the movie. She shows the wisdom of a mentor character that should have, and the patience. So she definitely pulled off the mentor role really great, as well as like there's a moment in the movie where they do show a vulnerable side, and they add humanity. Because usually these mentor characters, they always come off as like, you know, being completely wise and intelligent, you know, then always having that hand up and always showing confidence and stuff like that. But there is a scene in the movie where they show like really a depth in the character, like a vulnerability and a fear of the character. It's a very short scene, but it's very cool to see a mentor character kind of like open up like that in a way.
Yeah, so well, she's complicated because she is ancient. She's called the Ancient One. She's been alive a long time, and there's a question about how has she lived this long, and won't spoil that. But the answer to that is going to rustle some feathers. It's not exactly, you know, in code with how they operate. It's not black and white. She's got gray motivations.
Yeah.
She's hoping the ends justify the means.
Right.
And one of the feathers that rustles is like her second in command, Mordo.
Yeah.
Who is a character from the comics, but apparently they combine several other characters into this version. And he's played by
Chiwetel Ejiofor, which most people will know from movies like 12 Years a Slave, and he played the antagonist in Serenity, the Firefly movie. Yeah, very talented actor. So he was another cool casting choice. They got a lot of talent in this one film for just an intro story to a character. It was really cool. I mean, at this point, if you're an actor and you get a chance to be in the MCU, you're going to take that chance, even if it's more of a minor character. That's how big the MCU is in Hollywood.
Yeah, I like him a lot as an actor. I do have criticisms about his character.
Yeah.
One of the key criticisms that I have is the redeveloping of the character's origin to make him a friend and ally to Doctor Strange reminds me way too much of the relationship between Sinestro and Green Lantern. He is also this mentor figure that is an ally to Green Lantern, and at first they're working together, but then he becomes disenchanted with the Guardians, this council of ancient beings, because they're doing things that go against the code that he thought they believed in. And then at the end of the film version, you see there's like a after-credit sequence where he's using Fear Ring or whatever. That's very reminiscent of the journey of Mordo in this movie. I would say that's pretty much to a T.
Yeah, he definitely sees the universe in black and white. I mean, he's still a human character. He's still pretty realistic, so I'm sure he does see some gray, but it's pretty black and white for him. He's like, for his character, this is good, this is evil, this is right, this is wrong, this is chocolate, this is vanilla. This is how he sees the world, which is weird for a character that is a sorcerer. And they show in the movie that there is an infinite number of different dimensions. So there's infinite possibilities, and yet he just sees things in black and white. So he's not a bad character. He's just short. His range of vision is kind of short, I would say.
Well, Mordo is the key villain in the Doctor Strange universe.
He is. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I also don't feel, based on how he was introduced and developed throughout this movie, that he will become that bad. Like, he seems like a pretty honorable, good guy.
Yeah, he came off as more towards, and especially towards the end of the movie, as more lost than bad. Like they try to. I think they're trying to make it more like this whole like feeling of lostness made it twisted him. But he just seems like, you know, I mean, everything he believed in for years and thought he just kind of crumbled down around him. So I mean, that is a setup for villains. But
maybe if they developed who he was before becoming a sorcerer better. Like if we knew who he was before this happened, and then he was like kind of falling back on his old self or something. But the problem was that they pictured him to be this kind of great guy overall.
Yeah, very nice,
But
very kind.
I didn't feel like it was completely believable the way it was executed. I see the motivations, but I don't see it in the execution very much. I think they could have done a lot more to develop and make more sense of why he becomes a bad guy.
Yeah, if they do a sequel, which I have no doubt that they will, I hope they do go more into his backstory, because it's just briefly mentioned that he did in his younger life, he something did happen to him from where he grew up. So something about like where he's from, it was kind of stated as the fires of his youth that forged him. So I mean, when they do a sequel, if he's going to be the main antagonist, they do need to go. They do need to like take a solid part of the movie to go over like where he's from, why he is the way he is, his reasons for coming to the Ancient One to change his life. They definitely have to do a lot of background.
I mean, I think he did great with what he had, but villains in the Marvel Universe has never really been their strong suit. They've never had really great villains.
Yeah, a few exceptions. I mean,
Red Skull.
Loki.
Loki absolutely is probably number one. The main villain in this is Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Great actor, by the way.
Yeah, I really like him a lot. He's one of those actors that whenever he's on screen, he has my attention. He really is one of those actors where and most of you
intense.
Intense. Most people probably know him as the bad guy from Casino Royale and also
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, the Chief, correct. And also playing Hannibal Lecter in the Hannibal TV series. He's a very talented actor. I'm always happy to see him. I don't care what movie he's in. He could be in they could make a Sesame Street movie. I'd be like, oh, Matt Mickelson's in it. Great. Like, seriously, I just like seeing this dude. He's really cool. Yeah, so, I mean, he's kind of standard villain was a good guy, he's fallen to the dark side kind of deal.
Mads Mikkelsen and Doctor Strange are kind of mirror images of each other. In a way, you see how they were both kind of brought in by the Ancient One, and they end up going two different directions.
He's definitely one of those villains that has a very twisted view of right and wrong. His morals are extremely twisted. He's one that he claims he's doing it for the greater good, but it's really, you can see, which is ironic because he's like his eyes are like mutated to indicate he's increased in magical power. And yet, even though his eyes indicate more power, he's actually more blind to what he's really fucking doing. He doesn't see, like, just how, like, you are so wrong about this man. He's a really cool actor, and he does a great job, but he's not the villain of Legends. He's not on the same level as some of the top tier supervillains.
Fantastic actor. He could read the alphabet and probably make it scary. He has this really intense nature about him. But I feel like there wasn't enough to chew on for him.
As we've seen from the very first trailer, the effects in this movie are visually dazzling. A lot of people have compared it to Inception. Well,
I was gonna say, it blows the shit out of Inception.
No, exactly. Inception ain't got shit on the stuff that, like, Inception, like, seriously, if, like, imagine, like, kind of like a video game, right? Level 1 would be Inception, right? Level 26 is, and with the final boss battle, is Doctor Strange.
Honestly, one of my biggest criticisms of Inception is I felt that it lacked enough imagination, how crazy, the subconscious could get. This is freaking insane.
Yeah, there is no holding back. There is no holding back, and it's not like there's no holding back if they went too far. They went super far, but it works. It's just amazing, and it makes it takes the action sequences to, like, really an unbelievable level. Not only just how they use magic in combative ways, but how they interact with the world as it's really bending and folding.
Yeah, manipulating matter.
Yeah, matter and energy and all that stuff. So, I mean, they got cool spells where they can make, like, weapons out of, like, kind of like energy glyphs and stuff like that, but it's all in combination how they interact with the folding, changing world. They also like these like energy, like magic whips that they form, like and they fucking whip the shit out of people,
Also, just like how the wands choose the wizards in Harry Potter, there are objects like magical objects that choose sorcerers, and a cape, this iconic floating cape, chooses Strange, and the cape has its own personality that's pretty funny.
It reminded me of the magic carpet from Aladdin. From Disney's Aladdin. It has personality, man.
When he attacks that one goon, it was so funny.
Yeah, I know. It was really cool.
Yeah, the relationship he has with the cape is actually one of my favorites in the movie.
It's like his little sidekick, man.
Yeah, it's great. I loved the cape. Well, the visuals certainly are the best in the series thus far. I'd even say the best special effects. The effects are the thing that kind of blew my mind. Like, they were even above the levels of what I expected.
Yeah.
I was really blown away by a lot of them. And the action scenes were so creative because they really utilized all the skills and abilities that these people have. Such imagination, like how they're able to, their spirits are able to leave their physical bodies.
Astral projection, they do astral projection.
Yeah, astral projection. They have this huge fight. Oh god, the sequence where the Ancient One sends him through this like mind trip through like, you know, different dimensional risks and everything. I was like, holy crap, this is what being an LSD must feel like.
Yeah.
It was really trippy. But
you don't need to do drugs anymore, kids. You can just watch Doctor Strange.
I loved the manipulation with time in the finale. There's this awesome moment in the finale where there's all this carnage and destruction that was caused by Mads Mikkelsen as he's attacking. He uses this magical amulet that he wears around his neck called the Eye of Agamotto, which is powered by an Infinity Stone to reverse the time around them. And they're fighting while debris is being sucked back to the point of origin, and they're moving and ducking, and cars are coming back in slow motion, and there's like this one part where this car comes back from a crash and this woman goes back through the windshield and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like all happening around them. Really mind-blowing.
I know.
Yeah.
And it fits with one of the themes of the film, is that one of the themes is nothing is impossible now. If you can imagine it, it can happen. If you can think of it, you can probably make the spell for it. And that's really great. The visuals tell that theme. You know, I mean, they say, you know, like the Ancient One says, like, there's infinite dimensions, infinite evils, infinite whatever, but like the visuals alone can tell that in such detail.
It excels when it comes to the visuals, when it comes to its use of action and effects. That's where this movie rises above something else.
There's no denying that they went all out visually, whether it's special effects or concept. There's so much more to explore, so many possibilities. And, you know, much like with how Thor introduces us to the different realms, but whereas, you know, with Thor, like, there's basically only 9 realms. With Doctor Strange, there's no limit to it. And so, who knows what we can face next? I mean, Dormammu, the big bad, not the main antagonist, but the big bad, he's basically a god demon creature. That's basically what he is. And for like them to that just shows you how incredible Doctor Strange is, to be able to not only tackle in his first go out a powerful sorcerer in Mads Mikkelsen's character, then at the same time eventually face down a godlike being. That was a great idea, because if you want to get across just how important this character is going to be in the Marvel Universe, you know, he's got to face something big and nasty and titanic in his first go-around. Because now it's established what this guy does. He's dealing with stuff that the Avengers can't handle. He's on another level here. And that's just going to increase in future films when he does like become more powerful. Because we can see from this film, he's going to learn more knowledge of spells, he's going to get more skilled, more powerful. It's just going to get bigger from here with this character.
So I really like Doctor Strange, and I recommend it to everybody. It's another worthy installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The only thing is that these movies are feeling a little bit too formulaic. I'm really starting to get a sense of the mechanics of the Marvel machine. And because I'm becoming very in tune with that, there's something about it that feels a little bit like it's being put through an assembly line. Like, okay, let's make sure we have this ingredient, this ingredient. You know, I know they're trying to give a continuity of the universe to make it all feel like it takes place in the same, you know, world and everything, but I feel like something's lost creatively. We all know the story behind Ant-Man with Edgar Wright, how he wanted to take it a direction that was maybe a little bit away from what Marvel wanted, and they let him go because they wanted someone to put it more in line with the other ones. And this movie does excel when it comes to action and visuals, absolutely, to be different than the other ones. But I wanted the story to reflect that more, maybe the editing style or some choice in how it's put together. I would have liked to be more surprised. I think Doctor Strange, above any other Marvel characters we've done thus far, had the opportunity and potential to be very different in how it was executed. So that's my only complaint, is I wish it was a little different. It's good, but I felt like it could have been great.
Yeah, I can't really too much disagree with Mike here. It is kind of, with little bits maybe thrown here and there. It's pretty much the standard introduction story of a hero. It's pretty standard. Doctor Strange, he's going to be a headliner of the MCU going towards into future, probably especially in Phase 4. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see this, where the character's going to go next. I love the fact that we got so many great actors in this first film, and some of them we're going to see continue on. You know, good established actors that have got like great credits to their name. The possibility and the imagination. Imagine the creativity. I love it. I love it. It is what it presented itself to be in advertisements, and I love that. I love it. You know, every once in a while it's okay to like, oh, this is different than what it was presented, but no, which is fine. It could kind of work like that. But this one came through with what it presented.
Yeah, it delivered what you expected. The people that stand out as making this movie something really unique are the people that put together these sequences and the action sequences, the visual effects.
Oh, yeah, they must have been working around the clock.
Yeah, the people who put these together, wow.
I hope this wins some awards for that, man. I hope it at least gets a nomination or something.
I mean, the visual effects guys, ILM did this.
Of course. But anyway, yeah, guys, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange, go check it out. Really good movie. Yes, it's got some faults, but the goods outweigh the faults.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, another great Marvel movie. Go check it out.
They've done it again.
Done it again. Fucking Marvel.
You just can't fail.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let us know what you're thinking down in the comments. We'll respond back when we can. And if you really like this, please subscribe to our channel. But until next time, I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike.
And this has been
Review of the Nerds.
Catch you next time.
I can't do a Doctor Strange movie, but I was trying.